In this video, what we are going to see is the salient features of Indian Constitution. The salient features of Indian Constitution are a longest written constitution, partly rigid and partly flexible, parliamentary form of government, federal government with unitary bias, fundamental rights, directive principle of state policy, independent and integrated judiciary system, universal adult franchise, secular character of state, single citizenship, fundamental duties, emergency provisions that we are going to see one by one. Generally, the constitutions can be classified into two types, written and unwritten constitutions. Most of the constitutions are written. The first modern written constitution is the American Constitution. On the other hand, the British Constitution is unwritten. It consists of customs and conventions which have grown over the years. In India, we have written constitution. The Constitution of India is the longest one in the country. Originally, it had 395 articles, 22 parts and 8 schedules. Today, the Constitution has 465 articles, 25 parts and 12 schedules. The Constitution became lengthy mainly due to the following factors. The single Constitution for both the center and the state except Jammu and Kashmir. The Government of India Act 1935 was in operation when India got independence. Our leaders were familiar with this act. They borrowed heavily from the lengthy act while framing our constitution. India is a country of great diversity. It is a country of several minorities. It has many languages, caste, races and religions. The problems and the interest of the different groups have found place in the constitution. Many members of the Constituent Assembly were lawyers, politicians. They have made the constitution not only long but also extremely complicated. Edward Jennings has described our constitution as a lawyer's paradise. Next feature is the partly rigid and partly flexible. Whether a constitution is rigid or flexible depends upon the nature of amendment. The constitution laws and ordinary laws are amended in rigorous procedure ways. It is a rigid constitution. On the contrary, in a flexible constitution, constitutional laws and ordinary laws are amended in a simple way. Some provisions of the constitution, for example, Article 368 of India can be amended by the Indian Parliament with a simple majority. The amendment of most other provisions of the constitution requires a special majority in both houses of the parliament. There are some other provisions of the constitution which cannot be amended by the parliament alone. In case of such provisions, the amending bill has first to be approved by both houses of the parliament by a simple special majority with the supports of the 2/3 of the members of each house present and voting. Then it has to be ratified by the legislature of at least half of the states of India. These different amendment procedures make our constitution partly flexible and rigid. In fact, there is a balance between rigidity and flexibility in our constitution. The next salient feature is the parliamentary form of government. The Constitution of India has opted for parliamentary form of government. In the system, the majority party in the lower house, Lok Sabha, forms government. The Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. The cabinet is the real executive head. In presidential form of government, the president is the executive head. In India, president is only the nominal constitutional head. In Britain, the monarchy is hereditary, but in India, The post president is elective. Our constitution founding fathers adopted the parliamentary model for two reasons. Firstly, they believed that parliamentary form of government would be more responsible for democratic than the presidential form of government. Secondly, they were to be some extent familiar with the parliamentary form of government. During the British rule, particularly after the implementation of the Government of India Act 1935. The next salient features of the Indian Constitution is the federal government with unitary bias. India is a federation, although the word federation does not find a place in the whole text of the Indian Constitution. The elements of federation are present in the Indian Constitution. It is a written and rigid constitution. There is a dual polity and there is a constitutional division of powers between center and the state. There is also an independent judiciary. The Supreme Court arbitrates the disputes between the center and the state. All these provisions make India federation. But in Indian federation, the center is strong as compared to the states. The center has more financial powers and the state largely depend upon it for their economic development. Governor acts as the agent of the center. The center can reorganize a state, but a state cannot reorganize the center. In other words, the center is indestructible while the state are destructible. During Emergencies, the powers of the center considerably grow and the state become weak. India is the indestructible union of destructible states. The next salient feature is fundamental rights. The fundamental rights are guaranteed to the citizens by our Constitution. They are enumerated in Part 3 of the Constitution. These rights are fundamental because they are basic moral and spiritual development of the individual. And these rights cannot be easily bridged by the Parliament. The idea of the fundamental right has been borrowed from American Constitution. Any citizens of India can seek the help of High Court or Supreme Court of India if any of his fundamental right is undermined by the government or any other institution or any other government. The fundamental rights granted to the citizen cannot be amended in the normal manner. They can be amended with the 2/3 majority in each house of the Parliament. The next one is, now the citizens enjoy 6 fundamental rights. Originally, there were 7 fundamental rights. One of them was taken away by the Part 3 of the Constitution by the 44th Amendment Act in the 1978. As a result of, the right to priority is no longer fundamental. The right to property is no longer fundamental right. Since 1978, it has become legal right. Constitution of India guarantees 6 fundamental rights to every citizen. They are as follows. Right to equality, Articles 14 to 18. Rights to freedom, Articles 19 to 22. Rights against exploitation, Articles 23 to 24. Rights to freedom of religion, Article 25 to 28. Cultural and educational rights, Article 29 to 30. Rights to constitutional remedies, Article 32. So these are all the fundamental rights. The next one is directive principle of state policies. The directive principle of state policies are enumerated in Part 4 of the Constitution. They are instructions or directions from the constitution to the state and central government that are to be kept in mind while framing the laws and policies. The directive principle of state policies which have been adopted from Irish constitution. The directive principle were included in our constitution in order to provide social and economic justice to our people. Directive principles aim at establishing welfare state in India where there will be no concentration of wealth in the hands of the few. They can be classified into three broad categories: socialistic, Gandhian, and liberal. The directive principles are not enforceable in a court of law, but they are nevertheless fundamental in the governance of the country. These principles provide the criteria with which we can judge the performance of the government. Independent and integrated judiciary. The Indian Constitution provides the independent judiciary. The judiciary has been made independent of the executive as well as legislature. It is an integrated judiciary with the Supreme Court at the apex of the hierarchy. The High Court stands in its middle with the lower courts are located at its bottom. The judges are appointed on the basis of their qualification and cannot be removed easily. The Supreme Court and the High Court have the power of judicial review. They have the power to declare acts as a legislature and action of the executive ultra vires. If such acts or actions are found to be the conflict with the provisions of the Constitution. The provisions of the Constitution. The Supreme Court of India is a federal court, the highest court of appeal, guarantor of the fundamental rights of the citizens and guardians of the Constitution. There are various provisions to ensure the independence like the security of tenure, all the expenses of the Supreme Court charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India and so on. Again I am repeating, the Supreme Court of India is the federal court, the highest court of appeal, guarantor of fundamental rights of the citizens and the guardian of the Constitution. There are various provisions to ensure the independence like security of the tenure, all the expenses of the Supreme Court charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India and so on. Universal Adult Franchise, Article 326. Article 326 of the Constitution of India provides universal adult suffrage. Anybody who has completed 18 years of age is eligible to vote in general elections. This is one of the most revolutionary aspects of Indian democracy. The voting age was reduced to 18 years from 21 years in the year 1899 by the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act 1989. The voting age was reduced to 18 years from 21 years in 1989 by the 61 Constitutional Amendment Act 1989. Secular character of state. There is no official religion of the Indian state. The next heading is secular character of state. There is no official religion of the Indian state. Any person in India has the right to preach and practice religion of his or her choice. This Indian Constitution stands for a secular state. The term secular was added to the preamble of the Indian Constitution by the 42nd Amendment Act of the year 1976. The Western concept of the secularism is separation between the state and the religion. This negative concept of secularism is inapplicable in the Indian situation where society is multi-religious. Hence, the Indian Constitution embodies the positive concept of secularism, that is, giving equal respect to all religions or protecting all religions' equality. Next one is single citizenship. In India, there is only one single citizenship. In Indian citizen of India only. He is not a citizen of any Indian state. Single citizenship is meant to strengthen the national unity and national integration. Whereas United States of America, there is a double citizenship. An American is a citizen of America, and at the same time he also citizen of the 50 other states of America. The next salient feature is the fundamental duties. Originally, the fundamental duties did not form part of the Constitution. The 10 fundamental duties were inserted in Part 4A of the Constitution by 42nd Amendment Act in the 1976 upon the recommendation of Swansingh Committee. A new article, Article 51A, enumerates the originality 10 in number. The fundamental duties were increased 11 by 86th Constitutional Amendment Act in the year 2002. These duties are assigned only to citizens and not to aliens. These duties are not justifiable, but in the case of conflict, they will prevail over the fundamental rights. The next salient features is emergency provisions. The Constitution makers also foresaw that there could be a situation when the government could not be run as in ordinary times. To cope up with the situation, the Constitution elaborate on emergency provisions. There are 3 types of emergency. Emergency caused by war, external aggression or armed rebellion, that is Article 352. Emergency arising out of the failure of the constitutional machinery in state, Article 356. And financial emergency, Article 360. Again, I am repeating the salient features of Indian Constitution. The longest written Constitution, partly rigid and partly flexible, parliamentary form of government, federal government with unitary bias, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, independent and integrated judiciary system, universal adult franchise, secular character of state, single citizenship, fundamental duties and emergency provisions. Thank you.